this is really critical. This is where, I've heard people come to me and say, this is my pain relief medicine for what was the sticky point when I was lost on Google. I needed the real comps at the stage at signing for the deals.
Yeah,
Anything you
that
want to
makes
add to that, or is that
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's one thing to have an understanding of where an asset is now, as well as like what a potential valuation might be. But the time of the deal data, it's not surprising that that information is a little bit harder to find on the web or to at least keep track of.
harder to find and harder to trust? And it's a trust but verify situation that everyone's in. So we're going to see what that means in a second, and absolutely. So now we've set the parameters. Now let's look at the data. So the data driven approach. So what does the data tell us on who's done some deals? So you'll see deals for us in this deals database are partnerships and M&A and biobucks, right? So those are the things people are looking for. 37 of the 114 deals have biobucks. That means you will have some very clear upfront, milestone total valuations of a deal, total values of a deal. But then the other deals are equally important. How are they structured? What licensed territories involved? What was the target involved? So even if the biobucks aren't there, they are critical to everyone's decision making.
And getting
And then
that
things
level,
yeah, go ahead.
oh, sorry, Matt. I'm just saying, and getting that level of detail kind of gives you greater confidence that the peer group or the benchmarking that you're doing is at the highest possible level of resolution.
Absolutely. And to do that, you need to go a level deeper. So you'll see top deal makers, and not surprisingly, J&J, some of the bigger cap companies are going to be on the top. Maybe there's companies you didn't have in mind, like an Argenic. So this is starting to help you fill your peer group setting. And then to your point, looking at the data itself. So who structured what deal with some granularity? And each one of these deals will have a deal profile in BCIQ to give you that extra layer of deal, components. And then the original source docs, trust but verify. We include the press releases, sometimes the SEC documents, like where did we get the information from? And that's what I've heard. That's also a time saver because you don't have to go from this system to another.
Not only that, in the age of AI, of course, it's not enough when we're making decisions like this to simply have an answer. We absolutely want to be able to verify that with source or origin documentation. So definitely valuable.
Appreciate that. And then one other thing to add to this slide, even though that's not a part of the exercise today, I know it's a use case it just goes in tandem. I see a trend line, and I use this in my roadshow as the CEO when I talk to investors. Like there's a there here, there's a there, and this helps paint the picture. That way. So it's twofold. Let's fast forward and say, like, all right, cool. We've made our peer group. I've identified some companies. I have some targets. So what am I going to do next? I'm going to go look at everything in their pipeline. I'm going to jump to their what we call our products view, the pipeline landscaping view, and just because we did our homework, let's fast forward. So what this is now is I've identified some peers, and let's say my head of BD and some other people, head of corporate strategic planning, they said I need to add a couple more to your list. So they go ahead and they add them. So group effort. And now I've got my 9-10 companies that I want to see what are they doing in autoimmune and inflammation holistically.
Okay.
By what phase? And I've just looked at biologics. So now I've expanded not just ADCs and bispecifics, but expanded it out. I wanted to see the whole kind of picture. And what I've heard is that this ability to, and heard from the end users, this ability to discern very quickly partnered versus unpartnered projects in this filter set. Very useful, very, mission critical to their ability to discern the data, what's in there. 17 unpartnered products in phase 1, 16, just to give you a sample in the phase 1. The other thing that I've seen, the end user comes to me and says, I really want to just look at autoimmune sometimes. I don't want the inflammation part right now. We need to separate them out. How does that break down by indication, and how many projects are going in each indication in this filter set? And all of this is to say it's headed towards that end goal of proven track record. Does the asset match, the class that I'm going by, target, modality, the profiles of the components of what they're developing? Does that match what I'm trying to achieve? Can I start a dialogue? So working with their end goal and working backwards, that I need to get a peer group, but I need to start a dialogue with certain companies and filter the right companies.